the flag, we all beating our chest. When it's peace, it's the same old game, the same old players, same old names. Right. My skin is my sin. My skin is my sin. My skin is my sin.
What's good, fam? What's good, Queen? How you doing?
Hey, I'm good. What's up with you?
Just chilling. Life.
Yes, life. Today's been a hard day for me.
I'm sorry to hear that. Anything you want to talk about?
Nope.
I feel that too.
Nah, just running around, and I'm in Houston, so the heat catches to you, and I left out the door looking cute, and I came back in looking tired and sweaty. So, dealing with folks and traffic and all of that. So I'm just tired. That's all.
Oh, you just had a bad adulting day.
Yeah, but a little bit more than that, because I'm doing things in preparation for my show that's in October. So it's like when you have this idea in your mind to do it, it works out perfectly. But then when you got to involve other people, it gets a little more difficult because you're on their schedule and you got to meet them here and there, and it turns into a bunch of and it got to be lucrative for you. It has to not lucrative, but beneficial for, both parties, everyone that's involved in, and you got to figure out details and all of that. So it gets a little tiring. I do one thing at a time. I probably knock one thing off my list once a week, so not too much.
What's up?
But,
hey, let me get AJ on the line right quick, too.
Okay.
I believe that is Brother Greg. Hold on 1 second. What's good, fam?
Peace, family. Peace, King. Peace, Queen. Peace, everybody that's listening. What's going on?
Hey, man. Why you do the conference call, man? What's up with you, man? You're supposed to be there, bro.
This what happened. I swear, I'm talking to y'all in the inbox, and I'm just like, all right, so I guess they go on, like, put the bat signal in the inbox, like, all right, we about to call in. I didn't know it was, like, kind of routinely, because I talked to Rome after y'all had the conference call. He was just like, oh, yeah, the conference call over. I'm like, no, y'all just do this on schedule. They like, yeah, because you haven't been there. I'm like, okay, now I get it now. You feel me? Yeah, but you know how a race be like, your march, get set, go. I'm expecting to go at 5:30, like, go. Yeah, I'm calling. But you feel what I'm saying? It was just like everybody just did they thing, and I'm just in the cut waiting. I'm sharing and waiting.
700 cell phones. Don't nobody know how to call you.
It's funny because what I'm using, I had to put directly on the charger for like the last 45 minutes. I put on the charger. See, like I finna talk to y'all, I didn't even get it back online. I'm like, let me put this on the charger.
All right. Anyway, man.
So yeah, basically,
I did forget to tell people who they tuned in to, man. You are tuned in to My Skin Is My Sin on Blog Talk Radio. From goons to gods, we welcome everyone. We only got one rule, and that's be respectful. Got a really interesting show. Man, your boy's kind of polarizing, though. I can't front.
Yeah, man, good dude, man. I mean, me and the brother, we've been building. This is actually a long time coming. You feel me? So for the people that actually called in to listen, it is my fault because we've been supposed to get him on the show, and I've been procrastinating on getting his information because through passion we always build, but I never got his information. So one day I just said, fuck it, give me your number, and we're going to get somebody to reach out to you, shout out to the plug, and we got that thing put in motion, and it happened within 2 weeks. But, yeah, as far as being polarizing, definitely.
Because it's like, the topic, is one thing, but it's definitely a love-hate situation, which it is with a lot of people, So, wow, that's interesting. The same number called is in the queue twice. I don't think that's ever happened before. Anyway, and let me get the plugs out the way. Speaking of the plug, make sure you check out blackjunction.com. That is a social media site for us and by us. Shout out to the team, Liberation Minded Media. Black Eye Stand Radio, do the Knowledge Radio, the Rundown with Renee, and Get This Wisdom magazine, as well as My Skin is My Sin. Shout out to the family, Revolutionary Mind Cinema, always. The Queen Afi is just captured the movement for our generation artistically. So salute to you, Queen. Shout out to El Dorado in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I think this is the 5th Black Wall Street coming up, and I want to say it's in it's either October or August. But check out Black Wall Street. I've been to one of the events. It is phenomenal, and people spend money if you have a product, So check that out. Trying to think if I got anybody else. And if this is your first time tuning into the show, just about the first 10 or 15 minutes, quite honestly, we don't talk about much. AJ, your call dropped, by the way, too. Current event, something that's on our mind, whatever. You know how we can be a little late to the party, so we respect that, and we try to make every effort to accommodate people in that aspect. All right, I didn't ran my mouth enough. Oh, and it's the plug on the line, too, so hold on one second. What's good, fam?
Yo, peace, family. What's good, man?
Oh, chilling.
Everybody on?
Everybody but AJ. His call dropped.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm ready to get into it, man. I'm looking forward to this one.
Well, the brother is not supposed to call in, from my understanding, until about 7:30.
Right,
and I figure that'll be right on time to get people really, really active and involved. And shout out to the people that's tuned in already. We here every Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to get on air, the number is 347-855-8692, and you got to press 1 if you want to have you got a comment or a question. All right. Oh, man, speaking of the feminization and re-education of the black man, why did I just see this video, man, of this sister who was so in shape that it was a bit much, at least for my taste. Like, she had, like Hulk Hogan guns.
So, yeah,
well, you said in shape, though, like, she was
I'm trying to be delicate with it. I don't want to say that, I'm not trying to make a judgment call on I guess I am. I don't know. It's hard. Oh, my goodness. It was just not me. And hold on. Let me just AJ back. Huh?
Say Queen Swole.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh my man, it was man, it was bad to say the least. Hold on, let me get AJ back on the line. You good, bro? AJ.
Well, you know what? We need to pull together and get AJ a working phone because
Thought you a GoFundMe.
Like, what's up with that? Our AJ with this.
Can y'all hear me?
Trump. Do they have Trump phones? Yeah, are they doing Trump phones?
Yeah, them boys cost $22,000 though.
No, I know.
Yeah,
now they had okay, I never really got what the Obama phone was, but I pretty much got it was like free government phone, right? So since Trump is in office, like it should be Trump phone, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think he's giving them out though. I'm surprised they ain't came and reached them boys.
Them hillbilly white folks. Them hillbilly white folks want their free phone. So yeah,
you got a point there. You got a point there. It's a lot of them motherfuckers that's taking advantage of the system. They gonna be low key. They really gonna be hurt way worse than we are. We used to being put in fucked up situations. They ain't accustomed to that shit.
Yeah,
speaking of, you see them losing their mind already.
They in a dilemma.
Yeah,
is mess or pay your phone bill? Which one is it? Like that's the dilemma that they.
I got a question.
As far as them trying to take down, you feel what I'm saying, take advantage of the system or whatnot, they already cracked it down on that. I don't know if y'all heard, but just a few days ago, this white Jewish family has been took down for like racketeering and all these other crazy charges off of money laundering and fraud and off of welfare. And you feel me? The perception is always about black.
I mean,
no,
every once in a while they gonna throw one of their own under the bus to give the appearance of an equitable system.
Yeah, they ain't got no problem.
Oh, but they already got. But it's things. Oh, but it's good.
Go ahead, bro. You the only one talking.
I was just about to say, especially with Trump in office, you feel to say he's already pushing things forward already to cut down off of government fundings and things of that nature and stuff.
Yeah,
it's going to trickle down to them regardless. You feel what I'm saying? We already know that, but I just like the fact that they put it out there that since the stereotype is always about black people being on welfare, you even hear poor white people on welfare saying that shit, like, your lazy ass need to get a job, and both of y'all are watching Jerry Springer. But the ones that's really eating off of this shit are basically, you feel what I'm saying, people you wouldn't even recognize or even notice to be on or taking advantage of the system or getting anything from the system. So they're going to hit them as well as basically hit us.
It's a ridiculous statement anyway. Like, like in this country, we are the minority. So there's no way that we would ever be using more government support than white people. Like, it just can't. It just can't happen.
They can't. Yeah, they can't even twist the narrative because not only numerically but statistically as well as more of them on there. So if they try to just do it by like 1 out of 3 people, for real, it's still more poor white people if you do it in that demographic as well. So they can't squeeze out of that one either.
And they passed the Welfare to Work Act last week, where I'm assuming just from what I've read and watched on like some of the political stations, that if you're getting government assistance, you have to show that you're actively seeking employment. I think that's kind of how it works.
Employment, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, like as long as you're getting it, you got it. Like they're going to have like a certain amount of applications or something that you have to turn in every month or show proof that you're looking or something like that for you to stay eligible.
I don't think that's exactly new though. I think it's new to the feds, but I think certain states were already doing that.
As far as unemployment? I mean, not unemployment, as far as welfare?
As far as you got to gain employment or go to school or something of that nature to continue on welfare.
Well, they probably mean that you got. All right.
And
okay,
I'm not saying that to say that I agree with it. I'm just saying that I don't think that's that they were the originators of that stupidity.
Yeah.
And you know what? Let me backtrack a little bit. I won't say that it's stupidity. In some cases, I do think that some people need to work. There is some cases, and there are some cases where, I think that caseworkers should be able to have a little bit more latitude as to looking at the totality of the situation.
All right, but let me
there are exceptions. There's like exceptions for like the elderly and like disabled or whatever. There are some exceptions in them.
Right, so I don't want to make
able-bodied people should be able to try to work. So.
Yeah, but it definitely goes back to your point why you said that this is stupid, because actually it is. Because if they're going to put these certain parameters around you being on welfare, they got to at least have options for you or placement firms or whatever for you to gain this employment. Like, because if you could do it yourself, why would you need welfare? So then you get on welfare, but then they say you're only going to be on welfare. Right. So then they say you have to be on welfare for X amount. Then they say you have to be on welfare for X amount of time before you have to find a job. Well, if I couldn't find a job before I got on welfare, y'all going to force me to find a job, and then y'all not giving me any outlets to actually find a job. I got to go to social service to get my welfare. So y'all know who's hiring, employment, unemployment, and all these other things. So that's why I can say it's stupid.
There's a large population of people, though. That's an iffy thing, because there's a large population of people who they're not doing that. They're on it because they can, and they're not doing anything to try to get off of it. It's just, it's like people just, they rather wait on the check. They rather wait on the food stamps. They rather wait on whatever, then get out there and get a job. So it's gonna be some people that really need it, and they're gonna be hurt by it because they can't get a job. But we got a lot of people that's just laying up, watching TV in the air on Facebook, and when whatever day of the month
that's
comes, for them, they're going to be all at the store taking all the snacks. I can't get a cart when I get in the store because they got all the carts. Come on. It works both ways.
And that's going to be at every demographic, but my only thing is, if they're going to crack down on it because they've been letting people live off of it for so long, they should at least have something in place. All these things.
I mean, once again, I don't know how much they really going to crack down on it. To be quite honest, I mean, we hear the government say they're going to do it a lot of times, and it's just it's just a soundbite, and it looks good for re-election. But this shit don't actually trickle down to the shit happening.
Would be high on his agenda. Like, I really do think that, considering that he is, like, this president is a person who values wealthier people over poor, I really don't think he cares about poor people. I think he's going to stick with his platform, talking about putting America back to work, lowering all these resources, they're really resources. They call them handouts, free giveaways. I really do think this food is going to make this an important part of his agenda while he's in presidency. I mean, people are already now talking about public assistance getting cut down. Like, as far as I know, like food stamps, I don't know much about Medicaid, but like food stamps, unemployment, housing, like those kind of things, they're already reducing allotments for those programs. So, I mean, I'm not crazy. I really think that they're throwing all they can into making people actually feel this. And some people deserve to feel it, and some people don't.
It would be dope if we had like a monetary system in place where we could just take care of our own and just sit back and watch them crumble. I mean, you got a white boy that literally went to a baseball game and shot at some senators.
Yeah.
Like, they losing their mind. And we could just fall back and let them act the fool.
Let them do it. Let them do it.
We just gotta convince you feel what I'm saying, the ones that's not in the know yet. Hey, don't jump in. You feel what I'm saying? You don't have to jump in. Don't jump. Just chill. Just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Because some of us, we love everybody. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't get hit by a stray. You feel what I'm saying? This is our time to just sit back and watch.
Exactly.
And we didn't get a break. I don't remember the last time black people had a break for real, so I'm chilling.
This is strategy time.
Tea is very good.
And implementation time. Where we can sit back and rework some strategies and come back out swinging. It's like we get to go. We've been in the fight for so long. We get to go sit in our corner for a second and talk to the trainers.
Right? Yeah. Thanks.
I mean, because we've been oppressed, so we used to a little bit of oppression. These white people gonna lose their mind. They're gonna lose their mind.
Definitely.
That's a fact.
I mean,
especially I see a couple more people in the queue. If you do have a question or a comment, the number is 347-855-8692, and you got to press 1. And if you just like I said, like if you're just tuning in, Captain Tazaryach should be calling in approximately 7:30. So definitely looking forward to that. And the topic tonight is the effeminization and re-education of the black man. So hopefully we will be able to stay on topic. I would definitely appreciate that one. But who am I fooling? I kind of been on the show for a while, so sometimes it goes left. But I definitely want to address that, and I think everybody is got an opinion on that one. Definitely.
I mean, I look at see, the thing is, everybody is, for one, adults, but two, very respectful. So at the most, people might just have a slight disagreement to a certain degree. But I don't see. I mean, trust me, I kind of have an idea of how things are going to go because I traveled up with the brother a lot. So it's trust me, everything going to go smooth. But what do y'all think about that?
Oh, I'm not even worried about that, man. But before we even jump into that, if you could just give me 1 second, my computer just totally froze. because I see the king in the queue. Hold on, brother. I'm going to get to you in just 1 second. Like I say, my computer just kind of froze up.
That was Trump.
But without further ado, man, I want to make sure that we salute the king that's about to come on. Y'all already know, man, how we get down. We love our people, and we love people that love our people, and can overlook some things, because we got a common enemy. I don't know if I said that correctly, but anyway, without further ado, hey, I'm human. I make mistakes. We're going to get Captain Tazaryach of the ISUPK on the line. And this brother definitely has put in a lot of work, and it's an honor and a privilege to have him on. Without further ado, let's get him on. What's good, King?
Hey, what's going on, man? I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to be on the show. How's everything, man?
Oh, man, I ain't got no complaints, man.
Man.
And you already know Brother Greg, man, and we got the Queen Afi also as our other co-host. And Rome, I think you had some interactions with him, too. He may be calling back up.
Okay, that's what's up. I hope we have a decent show. I mean, I think it's definitely a good topic to talk about as far as the effeminization of the black man. I think it's something that needs to be addressed. If you look at the straight-up assault that's being done to the black man, I think it's something we have to bring to the forefront. And we need more individuals and platforms and people speaking about it, because there's a definite attack on it, whether it be through our music, through our dress, through our style, through the way our men are raised, through our absence of black fathers. Like, we have to address all of those things that play a part in our destruction. So I think it's definitely was a good topic when you brought it. I'm going to fuck you first. I think it's definitely a good topic to talk about. So that's what made me hop on it. I'll actually be in Baltimore, too. I thought it was Saturday, but it'll actually be this Sunday. I think that flyer I sent you, that park, I forget the name of the park off the top of my head, but I'll actually be there this Sunday. I'll be there at that park. If y'all want to come out, we can chop it up face-to-face as well.
Oh, yeah, we definitely slide, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up the flyer if I can, so I can give you the exact location. This will be the first one we're doing in Baltimore, as far as the cookout and stuff goes. So I just hope it's a good enough success. It's an excellent way for us to have people come together that don't necessarily subscribe to being an Israelite, but they are brother nonetheless, and then we could chop it up and conversate like that. So it should be
and that's one
good.
thing I can say about you, bro. And kind of just going back and looking over, some of the debates and some of the interviews, is you are able to kind of step away ideologically for a greater cause, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and I can respect that completely.
Yeah, you know why it's easy for me to do that? Because ideology or not, it's the same thing. Like our ideology is exactly what my conversation would be with you. Like, I don't have to change. Like, I know because we come from a biblical background, a lot of people get caught up in, I guess, like the Bible concept from what's popularly known of it. So whether it's Christianity, Islam, Judaism, whatever it may be, from what's popularly known of the Bible, they get caught up in that. But then when you have a conversation with us, you'll see that the Bible in its plain form is just what we need today. Like, it's about black power, it's about black unity, it's about laws, it's about a moral compass, it's about everything that we need today to survive. So it's easy for me, like, understanding that is why it's easy for me to talk to any brother. I don't care what walk of life they come from. It's easy for me to talk to any brother that has that common goal, that has that common concept, that can see the problems that plague black people and say, I want to do something about it. So that's an easy thing for me to do. And then I can fish them in. So, like, I could, be real coy and say, hey, let's talk about this here. And the next thing you know, you have on all black. Talk about Most High Christ. talk about everything else that I needed to talk about. You know what I mean? So if I got to come in like this, no, so be it. I'm going to come in like this. No. No. But, you know what I mean? It's no different than if you try to get me to walk in. Like, a lot of times we want to force feed our beliefs onto people, and everybody ain't there yet. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful. If you really like, let's say if you're a Muslim, atheist, or Kemet or something like that, if you really trying to push your belief or believe your way is the way, forcing it down somebody's throat ain't the way. You know what I mean? You got to present it in a way to where even if they end up not agreeing with you, they'll at least listen to you. You know, they'll at least hearken to what you're saying, listen to your words, take it all in. And then if they decide to walk away, then that's on them. But if you come at them real rah-rah, it ain't going to work. Now, sometimes rah-rah is good, sometimes it's not. You got to know how to weigh that out. Like, you got to know how to weigh those options out. So,
that's what any information that you're trying to disseminate.
Absolutely.
You know, people overlook the value of engaging a listener. Just because you got, quote-unquote, the facts, if you can't get people to understand those facts, then it's pointless to have those facts.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, having information is one thing, being smart is another. Being able to convey that to the people, that's a gift that not many people possess. So you could be smart as hell, but if you don't know how to talk to people, that smarts is wasted. So that's how I look at it.
Facts. So let's get to the topic though, bro. And I'm sorry, Quinn, if I cut you off. Do you think that there was a point in time where the effeminization really took place, as far as, and I don't mean like as far as going back hundreds of years, I mean as far as more recent, the last, let's say, 50 years? Or did we ignore some things early on with certain individuals, and then we look up and we got a real problem?
I think it started, I think the boom of emasculating black men, I would say, would start around the 70s. Like if you look at, I would say from the time civil rights came in, like officially from like 64 to about 70 or whatever, that's when you could see when they were specifically targeted. So they targeted a few things. They targeted Nation of Islam. They targeted Black Panther movement. They targeted Malcolm, of course. I don't really put Martin in that category because he was teaching us to kiss the white man's ass, so I don't put him in that category. And the reason why I'm putting those, you was going to say something? Oh, I'm sorry. So when it comes to, and the reason why I speak about Malcolm and the Nation and Black Panthers and stuff like that, again, this ain't ideology-based. This is the subject matter of attacking the black man's masculinity. When they seen strong black men can come together, that was a threat to them, because them strong black men was coming together not even to necessarily fight against the so-called white man, but to fight for their family, like to fight to keep that black man in the house, to teach young black men how to be men, not to be afraid, not to be fearful, take care of their community, because nobody can take care of their community but their own. So that's what they were seeing. So the Black Panther Party had, you know, the food programs and stuff like that. So we were doing things that would wake black people up. And you would think that a nation, a country that's supposed to be about freedom wouldn't have an issue with that. But they know if you teach a black man how to take care of his community, take care of his household, he will separate. And that power would then be given to black people, and we would dominate. So whether they start doing after that, that's why the drug epidemic came in. That's why pimping became popular. If you go back to when you said, was there things early in the game, like blaxploitation movies? If you think about that, like the Superflies and the pimping and all of that, that taught men to be feminine. Because how did they start talking? How did they start dressing? How did they start acting? And then what were they being taught to do? To be disrespectful to their women. To be, you know, to sell a woman, to prostitute women, to devalue a black woman to the lowest form. So I would say that it would definitely start then. If you go into the 80s, if you look at what they popularized for black people, like, you know, we talk about Young Thug and stuff like that. But if you go back and look at how, like, Grandmaster Flash and all of them was dressing, they wasn't dressing no different.
Man, they don't want to hear that, bro.
Yeah, but for some reason,
you just heard him with that one.
Yeah, if you look at them pictures from back in the day, that was
not a good
very
look.
raggedy. You know what I'm saying? But for some reason, we didn't look at that way. But if you was to take Grandmaster Flash and throw him into 2017, we would straight up look at him like he was a homosexual. We would look at their whole dress, their whole style, and everything. So these are the baby steps that you would say will go into play to get rid of. And the reason why I brought up the drug epidemic took the strong man away. Because in the 70s, the 60s and 70s, that's when you had the strong black men. And what the drugs would do, they would force us to become drug dealers. When I'm saying force, not that they literally had to force us, meaning take us by the hand to do it, but they did put an oppressive state on black men to where black men felt like this was the only avenue that I had. They wouldn't give them a job, wouldn't give them no education. They started the feminist movement where they started separating the black man, making it so that the black man couldn't stay in the house. So they was giving the black man a no-win situation, and instead of us looking at that fight and continuing to fight, you had those of us that chose rather to just become the drug dealer. The drug dealer became a trickle-down effect. Like we look at the drug dealers of Nicky Barnes, and I'm just naming the popular ones. You had some in Rosemont. I might mess up the names or whatever. I don't know that many famous ones. But you look at them, and then what did they do? They destroyed black families. So the heroin gang became the coke gang, became the crack gang, became the syrup gang. So it was like a trickle-down effect. And who got affected most? The seeds that came from them neighborhoods, meaning them children. So them children grow up without them fathers being around. And if you don't have a black man in the house, you will have a feminine man in the house. Because a woman, as great as she could be, as much as she could try, can never teach a boy how to be a man. She can give him advice. She could tell him things. But a black child, just like a father, if a father is raising up his daughter, he can give her advice and tell her things. But a daughter needs to see a mother. She needs to see a mother raising, doing certain things. So a black boy needs to see a father around. He needs to see a father taking care of things. He needs to see a father being a disciplinarian. He needs to see a father doing certain things so he can learn from. But what's happened to black people from that time of the 70s up until now is they have systematically moved the black man out. And so the young black man doesn't have nothing to look up to. So what does he look up to? Media. He looks up to media. He looks up to TV. He looks up to what he sees on the streets. And what he saw on the streets was pimps and drug dealers and the Christian pastor. And the pastor's a faggot, the pimp is a faggot, the drug dealer is a murderer, and you find out he probably a faggot too. So I would say it started then with the feminization. What we're seeing now is like damn near the end. We're seeing like the results of all of that. So that's why you have so many feminine young men that don't know how to be men because of the trickle-down effect of that. So I would say it started back then.
Okay, and I just want to say something to our listeners. Like I don't want you to take it that every pastor is like that. I do know some good pastors, although I'm not a religious person. Just a disclaimer. I do. I'm gonna keep it a stack.
Okay.
You know?
No sweat.
Oh yeah. All right. So Cap, it was good, man. It was good.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I got. Yeah, man. It's probably great. I got a question for you. All right. As long as you're a feminization of black men, what role does the psychological aspect play in it? And what role does white terrorism play in that?
The psychological aspect plays in it. Like, young black men today, when you grow up without a father, the psychological aspect, what plays on it first, is you take on the characteristics of your mother. And a mother being more emotional than what a man is, you become emotional too. You ever see these young boys today? They're acting all soft, they're quick to get an attitude, don't know how to talk to people and stuff like that. That's because they're used to seeing how their mama acts. And so because their mama acts emotional, and again, when I'm making these statements, this is in no way to disrespect black women, but it's really a call to all the black men that can listen to this show to all the black men that are fathers that can listen to this show, to look at the job that we have. Like, there's a job that black men have to fix this problem. Like, the psychological damage that's being done to young black men, it's up to black men to fix it because we're the only ones qualified to fix it. So the psychological damage takes place there. So who's going to teach that man how to fight, how to fend for himself, how to talk to a woman, how to treat a woman, how to go about getting a job, how to deal with peer pressure, how to deal with these knuckleheads on the street that want to make them get in the game. A lot of black men, the psychological damage that happens to a black man, he'll join the gang just because it's men there and he don't have a man at home. So he'll look at the people in the gang, and because those people in the gang are tough or rah-rah or gangster, if you want to use a word like that, he'll look at that and say, that's where I can get my manhood from. So he'll run into that avenue. Or what else he'll run into? He'll run into that Christian church. And I know the brother said he ain't talk about all pastors. I ain't talking about all pastors either, just about 98% of them. He'll run into that Christian church. He'll run into that Christian church.
That's not all.
That's not all. Right. Not all, but that's 98% of them. But he'll run into that Christian church, and then that Christian church also teaches him to be feminine, doesn't teach him how to be a man. So that's the psychological damage that a young black man has to grow up with. So he's not really given a lot of options. He's not given a lot of choices. And, you know, insensitive people will say, well, yes, he is. He's supposed to be old enough to make his own decisions. But if you take a child from the birth and then up until, let's say, he's 14, and he's never been properly guided, he's only been guided by his mama that can't teach him to be a man, by drug dealers that's only trying to get him to hustle so that they don't go to jail, so they try to get him to hustle for him, by media and TV, because if the mama can't watch him, what does she give him? She'll give him YouTube, or she'll give him a video game, or she'll give him something, anything that'll just keep him quiet. What's raising our black kids? Like, we have to look at that. Like, we really, I use the same thing that you can use for a rape victim, the same thing that you can use for a child molestation victim, is the same thing that you can use for black men and black women, but we're talking about black children today. It's the same thing that you can use for these young black men. They have been mentally molested and mentally raped. So now you have to really break them down to the beginning, and you really got to look at that young black man and really try to understand his pain. Instead of looking at it like, you know, he done committed these crimes, he done beat this brother up, he done did this, he done did that. You really got to look at the psychology as to why. And I guarantee you, because nobody gave a care to that, is why he's in that situation. And until we look at that psychology of these young black men, we're going to fail them. That's what we do in Israelite School UPK. We don't try to tear down a black man because of the mistakes that he's made. We try to look at what caused the mistakes, and then we build that brother up. You understand? Because nobody else has ever built, like, who's really built a black man up? The only black man you can see get built up is the ones that they make feminine, like Tyler Perry or something like that. If you become feminine, then we can build you up. But if you're not, if you're going to be a man, we're not going to let black people see that. Another thing from the 70s, I'm going to tell you one of the greatest lessons they taught black people in the 70s was that goddamn Good Times TV show was the greatest lesson they taught black people. That Good Times TV show was the best TV show ever created for black people because it showed a poor black family living in the ghetto. But what it showed was the greatest treasure a black family could have, and that was James. James kept that family together. James protected his daughters. James protected his sons. James protected his woman. And he ain't never let nobody touch him, mess with him, do anything to him. And he worked hard. He was legit, did everything. And then they killed him off. They killed him off because they did not want the media to play a role in actually showing black people that you could be poor but not out. You could be poor but make it. You could be poor and have wealth because your family is together. And they took James out the house, and once James left the house, that's the black household today. When James left out the house, just look at how buffoonery and coonery the shows came. Look at how JJ started acting. Look at how the mother started acting. Look at how the daughter started acting. That's the black household. When you take a black man out the house, and that's what the scriptures say, no man can enter into a strong man's house let's see, first bind up the strong man. So they started binding up the strong man in the 70s, perfected it with crack. Crack perfected destroying the black household. That was the perfection of destroying the black household. And Good Times is a prime example. Like that's a clear cut. If you can understand the psychology of that, you can understand the black household.
And, I think with crack, and we do got a caller. I want to get to you, 1124, in just a minute. But I think the one thing about crack is, we've had drugs in the community, like it's somebody been getting high since forever,
Right.
But the management of that, we lost our way with that significantly with crack. Like, it turned in from, it was rules and regulations. You knew what you was getting into. If there was a problem, they handled it with you and you specifically. And even though the surrounding community didn't like that, they understood it, and it didn't really affect them. With crack, it was all bets off, man. It was every person for themselves, and man, and it's just.
I mean, crack was like a nuclear bomb that hit the hood because it hit so many different avenues of black people. To build off of what Tazaryach was saying, not only did it effectively remove the black man from the house, it killed the last line of defense, which is the black woman. We never seen women strung out on drugs at this level. 60s and 70s, huffing glue, getting drunk, all that was cool. Black women wasn't doing it like that. Snort a line of coke here, you had to have money to do that. Crack was damn near free, $5, you could blow your mind. Women was out. You never seen junkies going out there doing some of the things that females was doing as well. Crack hit everything.
You know what else too? That further taught young black men that you don't have to respect the elder black men. Even let's take the drug game for a second. Now, let's take the drug game all on the left hand side, all wicked as hell. But they had a so-called code of ethics. You had a leader and then a trickle-down effect. The crack game made everybody become their own man. You can push it yourself, do whatever it is that you want yourself. And so now, and because the money was coming so fast, the money became the power. So the brother could be he could be in the game 20 years. These young cats didn't even respect that no more. So like all of these things, like it's such a dichotomy that comes with what's happened to the black man. That it's like we're the most endangered species on the face of the planet. And the problem is, as much endangered as we are, there ain't a reservation that's being created for black people. Israelite School UPK, we do it all the time. Like, we are that reservation, but there ain't enough reservations that can be put in place to actually care and save the black man. The minute you start talking about fixing or saving the black man, they start making excuses why we shouldn't. And that don't make no sense to me.
I feel you on that one. Hey, fam, y'all mind if I get to this call right quick?
Yeah, no sweat. I'm good to go.
All right, hold on. We're going to get to 1124 right quick. You silly, Alfie. What's good, fam? 1124, you there? Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can barely hear you.
Hold on.
Oh, okay.
I can hear her now. She sounds a little better.
Yeah, she sounded good right then.
Do I sound better?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Hey, AJ, dog. How are you?
What's going on?
Oh,
all right.
They were the Queen Imani. It's good. Haven't heard from you in years.
I know. What's going on, Imani?
I haven't heard. Good. Y'all done got brother.
I told
you. I had to time in. Oh, Shalom, brother. How are you?
Say again. I'm sorry.
I said Shalom. How are you?
Oh, Shalom, sis. I'm fine. And yourself?
I'm good. Okay. So it was a few things I wanted to just kind of add on to because I know y'all were talking about the feminization of black men. And, like, one of the things that you mentioned was how, I guess the sassiness that men had back in the 70s, people are now acknowledging it, during the new millennium, quote unquote. And one thing I wanted to add to that is back in those days, in the 70s, 60s, you would see a lot of feminine behavior be shunned upon, even like the way they dressed and everything. But I feel like you know, the government, Obama's years in office, he gave, you know, people that power to feel like it's okay to dress like that. He gave a lot of people that power to feel like it's okay for men to be wearing blouses and women to be wearing, men to be wearing skirts and, you know, things of that nature. And I just feel like it has always been an issue. You know, I always felt as a child Prince was gay. You know, he used to scare me. Him and that guy, Holiday Hart, they used to scare me as children, but now you see a lot of trannies and everything being put on television.
A lot of tranny gay scandals, too.
Hey, Prince was the turning point.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was like the experiment. You know, they said, you know, and don't get me wrong, I think that he's a musical genius. I know how to separate the two. Okay, but what they said was, okay, we're gonna put him in women's clothing, but we're gonna let him get all the finest women, so it looks normal.
I think y'all reaching there.
You know what you said too? You know what you just said? You know what you just said that was kind of heavy?
Well, Prince,
you said,
seriously?
Me? Yeah, I do, because right now I think that you guys are not I think, I don't want to understand, that's not what I meant. I don't think you guys right now are acknowledging that there is a difference between what public behavior and then musician, artistic, drug users. That those are two. Like the way the problem now is that the general public, regular children, regular homes are behaving in ways that seem homosexual. Back then, what y'all talking about now, those were musicians. Those were people that did drugs. Those were artists. Those were entertainers. You didn't have regular people. You didn't have regular people walking around dressing like that. Let me finish my thought. That's like, for example, like when y'all were just talking about that, like for me, prime example is my father, right? And my father is a man that worked all his life, came home, brought the check, everything got paid first before he got anything out of it. Took care of his children, took care of his wife, took care of his a man's man, not a feminine bone in his body, but he loved the hell out of some cameo. So I remember a couple of times, like going to a party or a friends get together or whatever. You know, everybody did drugs back then. That's when the tight, you know, the little bell-bottom pants came out. He had the vest with no shirt on, you know, like, you know, that kind of, and Cameo was his group, you know what I'm saying? But when that stuff wasn't happening, when it wasn't party time, you know, and music time and all of that stuff, he was a what we call regular, you know, whatever, alpha male, whatever you want to call it. So we got to be clear to separate the two. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have a bunch of musicians walking around being gay. We got everybody.
No.
Go ahead, King. Go ahead.
I appreciate it. What you're saying, I'm going to tell you why. What the brother had asked was, what was the beginning of it? And so what you're bringing out?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what y'all were talking about.
I'm gonna bring it to you. When we was talking about what was the beginning, and we brought up all those things, and then the brother brought up Prince, and then even you brought up Cameo and said how that was something that was just for the entertainers and stuff like that. That is the beginning. Like, it started off as an entertainment thing, and like you made a point to say, like, that wasn't allowed in the neighborhood, which I agree. At one time, that wasn't allowed in the neighborhood until the media was able to stuff it down our throat enough to where we accepted it in the neighborhood. So imagine, like, if Cameo was to come out today, we would call that homosexual. We would say you cannot look like that. If Prince was to come out, we would say the same thing. I mentioned Grandmaster Flash, we would say the same thing. But back then, like you said, it was just the entertainers. But that was the agenda of the people that wanted to make us that way, to where they would start making that.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Right. So
that's why I was very quiet at first when you were explaining. I mean, I was right on board with you. Almost everything you said, except when you got to the part about, you know, boys in a home with no mother and being emotional, feminine. Well, that was the only part I even had something to inject on.
No, but that does take. But
no, that's not. I'm not saying that. Then I'm saying that you got to make exceptions, because you can't say in one breath that boys raised in homes without a father figure, will turn out to be an effeminate male. We need to talk about the psychology of the black male, but then you don't allow black boys to express themselves because you're talking about emotional like his mother.
How?
You can't, and there's a variety of different ways to express yourself. But when you're specifically talking about the psychology of the black male, how do you think you get black men to understand psychology, understand how it affects them and how that in turn affects their lives and systemic oppression and all these other things that we have to deal with every day if that boy, man, whatever, is not allowed to be emotional. Emotional does not equal
but see, there's a whole...
I think that's contextual, though. I think emotional is contextual. Like nobody's saying.
Right.
Like I don't think the brother is saying that you can't be emotional. But what he's saying is you have a consistency in being emotional. Like there's nothing wrong with a man crying. A man.
He said emotional. He said
let me finish though, Queen. Let me finish though, Queen.
In that house will be emotional like his mother. That's what he
I know,
said.
but hold on. Let me finish what I'm saying though, Queen, because I kind of want to. And my fault, bro, but I kind of want to explain it to how I hear it. I don't think that he's saying that you can't be emotional at times. That's part of being a human being. You're going to cry, you're going to be angry, you're going to be happy, you're going to be sad at certain points. I think what he's saying is that when you only get one view of a parent and we're supposed to have two, and being that women are more emotional, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but I think that women are a little bit more emotional than men, that you seeing that and that's the only thing you see will make you more emotional consistently. Not necessarily like case specific, like you at a funeral and you cry. Instead you may be sitting in front of your job crying about something silly.
I don't agree. For one, I don't agree that women are more emotional than men. I think men. Either because of social.
I would say that.
Okay, if I could just add before you go into, I think y'all caught up on the word. The brother said it's conjectural, emotional. What I was talking about, if you'd listen to everything that I said. I wasn't saying that. I'm not saying no. I wasn't saying that he could not be emotional. Period. I said he's not seeing a father raise a household. He's not seeing a father with a job. He's not seeing a father handle this. A father teach him how to deal with. One second. All of those things that I said require an emotion to be able to deal with it. What I meant when I'm saying emotional is they're getting all of that from their mother, and a mother can't teach a young boy how to be a man. No different than I said a father can't teach a young girl how to be a woman. That has to come from the same sex. So a woman a girl has to learn that from a mother. A boy has to learn that from a father. And when there ain't a father that can teach that, this is the results that you have. Being effeminate was one of the things, but also the gangs I brought up, the drug dealing I brought up, pimping I brought up, being in that church I brought up. So it wasn't just one thing. So I don't want you to get hung up on emotional. Like I ain't saying a young man cannot have an emotion at all. Like we just supposed to be emotionless creatures. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about a specific type of thing that he's supposed to get that can only come from his father or a father figure that's just lacking amongst black men as a whole, not on an individual basis, but as a whole.
Okay. Now, let me make this clarification because everything that you just said is not what I'm talking about, and I'm not hung up on the word emotional. I started out by saying you said the boy in the house becomes effeminate because he's emotional like his mother when there's not a father in the house. First of all, there are other figures that, and I agree, a woman cannot teach a boy how to be a man, but there are other figures that can be there. There can be a grandfather, an uncle, a brother. There's a whole bunch of.
But he said that, Queen.
You gonna let me get my statement out.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
So my hang up was just that one line that you said. The boy in the house will be an effeminate male because he will be emotional like his mother. So it's not necessarily just the word emotional. It's that whole sentence that I had a problem with. And I didn't interject because out of all the stuff you said, that one little point I didn't disagree with.
There wasn't nothing wrong with that.
It wasn't really a need for me to. I mean, to you it may not be, but to me that there is, and the reason why, because this turned into a question about the psychology of the young black male. Now, with that statement being said about the boy being effeminate because he's learning to be emotional from his mother, when you get to the young black male understanding his psychology, you can't expect him to be gun-ho about expressing himself and whatever avenue you want to think is necessary to express yourself, so that you find out about how the psychology of the black man works. If he's hearing statements like that, you're emotional, like your mother.
But I think you're making it an absolute when it's more like a.
No.
I don't think he means it like every boy will be effeminate. I think it just what he's saying, and it may predispose him to being influenced more so than somebody that had a two-parent household.
I mean,
and I'm gonna let you money back in and just.
It's okay, y'all go on. Y'all carry on. So y'all just carry. Y'all carry on with the. Go ahead. If y'all are going to add to what I'm saying instead of just with the statement that I'm saying outside of adding.
I don't think you're getting what I'm saying.
No, I kind of, you know what I think it is. I just think that the way that you perceived it and the way that we perceived it was a little bit different because
raised all the time saying you emotional like your mother, and then but nobody
said to say that though.
Go ahead.
You act like I'm saying you act like I'm saying
that's
to
not
say
what I
that.
said.
I
was
didn't say.
Giving you an example. I was giving you a scenario. But I can't give my scenario out. So just go ahead.
All right, this is what we're gonna do, fam.
And
I hate to cut everybody off, but I gotta cut everybody off. And just in the interest of the show, we're gonna get back to 11:24 because her phone line dropped. And also, if you got a question or a comment, I want you to call 347-855-8692, and you gotta press 1. And we're just going to keep on moving. And we're not going to agree on everything. And that's cool. You know, that's what I love about us. You know, we can disagree on something.
We don't have to agree, but sometimes it's necessary. It's necessary to listen to the person to have a conversation. To have a conversation where you get some benefit out of, it's necessary to listen. You know what I'm saying?
That is true. And I did not know that there was no way that was not listening.
I can't have a conversation with you if while I'm talking you're thinking about what you want to say to disprove what I'm saying. That's not a conversation.
Okay. I get what you're saying, Queen. I do. But like just with anybody else, if you're having a conversation with somebody and there's a disagreement amongst the two, and you hear something that you like, okay, yeah, I agree with that, or I may disagree with that. It don't mean that you like focused on that per se. At least not with me. It just means that one particular statement, it just happened to catch my ear more so than something else. But
then that's one thing. I think I reiterated that a couple times that was the one thing that
I'm sure.
I'm trying to get stuck on one thing, and it really is like, and I get what you're saying, Queen, and I get what you're saying too, King.
It was just that one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in general,
you know. How you gonna inbox me to let her back on the show, bro? You won't let me get her back? Let me get her back on the show. Hold on, man. Got to get the money back on. It's been a long time. And I'm sorry, Captain Tazaryach, man.
Listen, y'all ain't got to apologize to me, man. I'm good, brother. I'm good.
All right, bet. All right, hold on 1 second. What's good, Queen? Hello? Somehow she called from the same number in two different lines. Imani,
can y'all hear me?
I can.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you now.
I'm sorry. My phone isn't good, so it drops in my house. But okay, so kind of just like I don't want to go into the conversation which y'all were previously having with the other queen on the line. I forgot her name. What's her name?
Afi.
Afi.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Well, hello. Well, I think let me just put my individual perspective on it, and then I did want to touch base with Tazaryach because I had a few questions for him. But the first thing is, Queen, I understand what you're saying, and one thing I can say, and this is just coming from me, my perspective only, is I went from I have 4 boys and I have 1 daughter, and I was in a relationship with an individual who, it just didn't work out. I mean, I wasn't perfect and he wasn't perfect, and, it just wasn't meant to be. But I did, later on, I started dating my fiance now. He's in the truth. And everything.
Congratulations. I didn't know you was getting married. Oh, snap. Whoa.
Yes, we are.
I knew you was getting married. Whoa, that's my fiance. Oh, that's my man.
Congratulations, since he interrupted already. Congratulations.
Yeah,
congratulations.
That scared me. Congratulations.
He brought a whole other light to my children. Well, really the boys, because they were, they weren't. I don't have bad kids, but it was certain things that I seen that they started picking up from me. Now, when you are a single mom, okay, and you work full time, and you get frustrated, you tend to yell at your children. And I started doing that with my oldest son. I was looking at my oldest son to help me with his brothers and sisters when he's not obligated to do that. He only has one role, and that's to go to school, that's to take care of himself and learn how to be a man. So I started to see him imitate my behavior with his brothers and sisters, like, no, dude. And I was not feeling that. And my man came in, and he brought so much correction and order in my house. One thing he tells my boys is, he said, you leave this house, I'm here to have you spiritually fit, mentally fit, and physically fit. I understand I'm a mother of 5, so we can't do it all. As much as I commend us for trying, we just can't. And when it comes to little boys like my son, I started to make him sensitive. He would cry anytime I would tell him to do something. If I did try to talk to him, he was so defensive. And every time I would say something, it would be a but. Like, you shouldn't have to but if I didn't even get my sentence out. Like, you're right, but no, it shouldn't be no combative behavior. So I noticed my son started to do that. And when their dad came in their life, all of that has changed. So I agree with everything Tazaryach was saying. I don't feel like as women that we should even try to debate it, because what is up for debate? You get what I'm saying?
Wait. I didn't debate any of that.
Let me go, Queen. I
didn't debate any of that, though.
Okay, somebody got like a car in the background.
Just even project. You get what I'm saying? Sometimes we gotta just swallow what these brothers are seeing, just like.
No, wait, hold on. You're making a moot point, because I did not disagree with any of that. So who are you saying this to? I didn't disagree with anything that you.
What is the objection about? What is the objection?
That's the part. And see, that was the thing I was saying earlier to y'all. No one was listening to what I was saying. The point that I was trying to make. I think I said twice that I agreed that a woman cannot raise a man. Did I not say that?
Yeah, you did.
Right.
No, actually, I would.
So what? So
actually,
I was 5 minutes. So the whole 5 minute narrative that you just gave directed at me. You directed at me for what? Because I didn't disagree with any of that he said.
Well, what was the objection about? Is what I'm asking.
I think it was just more the terminology that he used,
and one that they can't have no emotion.
It was not the terminology. The second part of my objection was about the psychology of young black men. It was not about the original statement that he made. It was, if you make that statement, if that's what you think, how do you in turn have young black men be okay with understanding the psychology of the black male if they cannot properly express their emotions because they think they are overly emotional or displaying a certain emotion because perhaps they got that from their mother? That's what I said. Like, don't pick out of what I said.
Can I please interject?
I would actually like to hear from Captain Cesario if y'all okay with that.
Please, can I say one thing?
AJ,
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on one second. I would like to actually hear from Captain Tazaryach if y'all okay with that.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, I first would like to point out, sisters a Hebrew Israelite, all you sisters need to be Hebrew Israelite. That's a shameless plug, I know. Just a little humor. But what the sister was saying, but the sister gave an excellent point, and the first sister that was trying to explain the emotional part, I think the reason why the sister spoke and what she was saying was, as far as nothing should be said, it wasn't really to necessarily come at you. I don't think you should take it that way, but that we got to just swallow the whole pill. Because what I was saying was not saying that when we go talk to our young men that we just say, oh, you emotional and stuff like that. One of the most important things I said was, when we look at that young black man, we have to look at his situation, what he's been through, and then address it that way. And I think if we do that, I think that goes a long way into fixing the black to the young brother, as opposed to anything else. And the sister gave a perfect example to what I was talking about, and that's not to take away anything from a black. Now, I'm not talking about you no more, sis, as far as what your statement was. I'm addressing the second sister that called. What the sister said was perfect, because this ain't taking away. Like, the most important thing I think black people, black men and black women need to understand is that our battle is not really against each other. For since that same thing in the 70s, you notice I mentioned the feminist movement in there as well. Because at the same time they're destroying the black man, they feminizing the hell out of black women. They feminize and seduce black women so much so that black women actually marched with white women. But when Donald Trump got in office, when black women are in a better position economically, but that's a different subject. But black men and black women have been taught that we're each other's enemy since the 70s. And the one enemy that's been the cause of it, we don't look at that as the enemy. So this is in no way to have a competition between the two, but instead to create a perfect balance. That's what makes that sister's call so important, because she was taking care of her kids, doing exactly what she was supposed to do. And then she got with her brother and then started seeing the little things that she couldn't give her son. And then that father came in there, and what did he do? He brought that balance that it needs. Like in the black household, a perfect balance is not a single black father, it's not a single black mother, but it's a black man and a black woman raising that household together. That's what will resurrect it. Because I'm pretty sure that young brother that she said started emulating her, he's not emulating her no more, because he has a father figure in the house to emulate, to look at, and to watch. And that goes back to what I was speaking about in the beginning. What we need is for young black men to see strong black fathers raising a household. And then the emotion that they're supposed to have will be that manly emotion. And they'll still get some of their mama's emotion, but there'll be a balance of the two, to where that feminine emotion won't dominate him, or that masculine emotion that should dominate him, but he'll still have some of the nurturing aspects from his mother. You need the two of them. And right now, the black race as a whole does not have two of them at the same time. That's all.
And Brother Tazaryach, I did want you to expound on something just for a quick second, and I'm going to let them continue to build with you. But I wanted you to see if you could take it to Deuteronomy 28, verse 57, because one of the things that I noticed, like, is getting back to the basics with me, you know, because I've been in the truth for about 2 years. But really, like, once I meditate on the beginning, I have a better understanding of how I need to operate in the spirit. And one of the things, if you want to read it, or if you don't mind me reading it, or you need my husband to read it.
No, I guess
you call. Wait, what you trying to read, Queen? I do got another caller that's been waiting for a while too, so I just want to make sure you be brief for it.
It's gonna be real short.
Yeah, can I start at verse 56?
57. I just wanted you to edify on it, because it kind of correlates with everything we're talking about. It's Deuteronomy 28:57.
Okay, no sweat. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 57. Can I start at verse 56 or verse 57?
Go ahead.
Okay, verse 56, it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children that she shall bear. But she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in deceit and straightness, wherein thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. The reason why I started at verse 56, in the beginning of that, it mentions how it calls our black women delicate among you, so delicate that she wouldn't set her soul upon her feet on the ground for tenderness. And then it says, her eyes shall be evil towards the husband of her bosom, her son, and toward her daughter. Speaking about how our black women would become during this time, in this captivity, that's what we've become. Again, this is not the subject, so I won't dwell too much on it too long. But
I'm really trying to avoid, and no disrespect, but I wanted to kind of just stick to the topic. I do appreciate that though, Queen, but it's such a polarizing subject, and I think that especially in just like I said earlier, looking at you, we're able to have a conversation. And I'm not saying no, you're not a Israelite, but it don't have to be the focus of the conversation. You feel me?
Oh yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I didn't even want it. I didn't know that it would be a problem, so it's okay. Trust me.
It's not, Queen.
I just had the opportunity to talk to you, so it's kind of like I wanted to, hear from the captain. But it's no rough. I'm still tuned in, y'all. I'm sitting here cooking dinner and yapping. My fiance looking at me. Can I talk so bad? But I'm gonna let y'all get to the next call. I'm still gonna be on the line.
All right, salute, Queen. Definitely.
No doubt, man. It was definitely. Hey, it was definitely nice hearing from you, Mom. Definitely.
It was. And congratulations again,
the Queen,
your king.
Definitely. She just slid down right out the cut for real. Oh, yeah, me and my fiance. Oh, yeah? Oh, really? All right, okay.
You noticed
but,
it,
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Cool sister.
Yeah. But on this subject here, man, I think this is something like I'm planning on doing a lecture on this in Houston, Labor Day weekend. I think the Sunday before Labor Day, I'm planning on doing a lecture. It's actually called the Re-Education of the Black Man. And it was going on outside. And the subject matter is going to deal exactly with a lot of these subjects, the effeminization, the tools that they use to have us fighting each other, the way that we treat our women. Like one of my most famous, well, not my famous phrase, but black women will stop being whores if we stop loving whores. I'm talking about black men. Like black men got to take the responsible role. You know what I mean? Just imagine if black men didn't go to the strip club. Black women wouldn't be strippers. You understand? Like, so we got to change the psychology across the board amongst black men. So I do have that coming up as well. But I don't know if you had any other questions you wanted to ask on this subject.
No, I was just about to say I kind of like the approach that you're taking, because if you see right now, a lot of brothers out there in the conscious community, I'm saying that with quotation marks. I don't know if you subscribe to it or not, but they're taking this angle where it's like a lot of people are taking this angle where they're basically bashing black women. You feel me? For monetary type of gain. So when I see that you're doing it and you're basically like making the call out towards the men, you're doing it from a place where it's meant, because these things will actually help our community, not just bashing each other and putting each other down. So what do you want people to take away from your lectures that's coming up? The men and women, because I know it won't just be all men there. It's going to be women there as well.
Right. What I like that you said first, the most important thing is that we ain't got to waste time bashing each other all day. Like what you mentioned about that conscious community is nothing but fuckery. Right? Like we are supposed to be these so-called leaders. If y'all want to consider me that, that's fine. I'm a servant. The scriptures say, let those that are greatest among you be servants. I'm not even calling myself great, but I'm just a servant to black people. That's what I am. But if we're going to be looked at as leaders or people that want to have a voice in this conscious community, in the Israelite community, or whatever, then we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard than hip-hop, a higher standard than battle rap, which is what you see everywhere. So I've only really done one actual debate in my whole time that people have known me. I've only done one debate where I go in, set it up, and then you come and watch me do a presentation. You watch my opponent do a presentation, and that's it. The debates that I have had on the street, I'm on the street every week, so anybody can come up and ask a question and deal with it like that. As far as me speaking, I've done lectures on integration. I've done lectures on homosexuality, child molestation. I've done lectures on the miseducation of the black woman, which is contrary to what people thought, because that was me doing a lecture to empower her. Like, we don't have to call a black woman a god to empower her. Just remind her of the position that she's always had. Like, putting a black woman in a proper role is the greatest thing you can do. Seducing her with words is the worst thing that you can do. So what I like for people to take from me is that the lectures that I give, I want to reflect outside. I mean, it's cool to have people come and listen to the information, but then let's take that information outside and spread it amongst the community. So when people hear me speaking, if they hear me do a lecture on the re-education of the black man, I would rather them have those words about me than the words of, who got the biggest ego, who got this knowledge and all of the knowledge, because that's not edifying the people. That's just edifying the two opponents that's doing it. And I'm not saying that there ain't no place for that, but there should be a prioritization if you care about black people. So I've cared about black people enough that for the past 2 or 3 years, all I've done is lectures on our condition. That's why I'm doing this lecture on the re-education of the black man, because that addresses the number one priority amongst our community. I did black women first. I'm doing black men now, and then the next one after that will encompass both the black man and black woman, because we cannot be divided anymore. And black people got to have something they never had in the past 20 years. That's compassion. We give all our compassion to everybody else. And when a bomb happened in Paris, we got compassion. Towers fell, we got compassion. This aircraft blows up, we got compassion. But when it comes to the brother that lives next door to you, you don't have compassion. So that sister that's in that club that you giving them dollars to, you don't have compassion and looking at that sister saying she's obviously been molested, raped, or something, that her psychology thinks it's okay to have these men looking at you naked, putting dollars on you and thinking that that's the way. For a brother to even think it's okay to sleep with prostitutes, there has to be something with his psychology that's making him do that. So we have to start addressing this straight-up attack on black people, because we the ones that suffer. Like, we're the ones, like I did a lecture, Make Atlanta Straight Again. I went down to Atlanta. Listen, they told me Atlanta was the gay capital for black people. You cannot fathom how gay Atlanta is until you go down there. I mean, straight up. I would never, listen, man. Like, I go to New York. So, like, I'm from Jersey, but I teach in New York. And in New York, the gay people are white people. So, you might see black people that are gay, but it's predominantly white people that you see. When I was in Atlanta, man, if 5 men were walking up to me, 10 and a half of them were gay. Straight up. Like, and it just mind-boggled me that it was attacking us that much and acceptable like that. And that's why when you asked that question in the beginning, when you said, where did it start? And I brought up the 70s and Grandmaster Flash, the sister brought up Cameo. I'm going to throw Cameo in there too. You can bring up Prince. You can bring up all of these things that we just let it slide thinking that's just entertainment. That entertainment has now made it to where black men think they could just walk up and down the street as homosexuals, and we just have to accept that. And if you say something against that, you look like the villain. Like, I want to applaud all of the people. Like, that lecture was probably my biggest lecture, and I didn't expect it to be because of what I was talking about. But that lecture was standing room only. They were standing outside. And I was actually glad that black people cared enough to come out and support stuff like that. So we have to really turn the tide as black people of what we will allow to be put on us. Like, we accept so much as black people. Like, whatever they say, we just accept it. Now realizing we have the voice. Like we make, like, you know how they say America runs on Duncan? America runs on niggas. America runs on black people. And that power that we have, we need to churn that to start benefiting us. Because we've let it benefit Hollywood, we've let it benefit the CIA, the drug epidemic, we've let it benefit Planned Parenthood, we've let it benefit these elections, and we've reaped none of the benefits.
Every avenue possible.
Only thing we've benefited is number one in AIDS, number one in abortion, number one in drugs, number one in prison. We've benefited all of the destruction, but we've never reaped none of the glorious benefits that everybody else gets. So we have to turn that tide. We have to make that be the focal point. That has to be the number one priority for black people that's living in America and abroad. We have to prioritize ourselves. Like, we got to be selfish. Not selfish in the sense of I ain't giving this brother no money, I ain't helping this brother, but selfish as a race. I can't give my love to these people no more because my race needs to be the top priority. That's where we need to be at right now.
And on that note, we're going to take one more caller, and I know, AJ, you got another question. Let's get the caller in, and then we'll get to your question, too. And we're going to get to 3761. I do apologize that you've been waiting so long, but as you can hear, it's been a great build thus far. So hold on one second. What's good, fam?
It would actually be off topic now, so disregard.
Go ahead, bro. What do you want to say?
No, go ahead, man. What's good, man? What's your name, man? Where you calling from? What's your name?
This is Anthony, man. Basically touching on
good brother.
Black men being emotional, and I think that could potentially be a catch-22 in a sense, because built-up emotion that actually creates rage, and that's probably why a lot of black men are raging. So I think it's okay to actually show emotion. Like, we're taught to not show emotion. You're a bitch if you show emotion.
Thank you for being the only person that got my point.
Well, I show emotion every time I'm at camp. But I show emotion every time I'm at camp. So when the emotion that I was talking about was not, it was a specific type that I was talking about. I was talking about the young black man that becomes like, y'all say y'all understand what I'm saying, but y'all can't because y'all still talking about emotions. If y'all see any of my camp speakings, I'm emotional on my camp speakings. Even on this phone call right now as I'm talking, I'm emotional as I'm talking. But I'm not emotional on what I was talking about with that young black boy that does not have the father in his house, so he doesn't know how to channel it when it's to be used in a proper context. That's what I'm talking about. A father can teach that man to be emotional, and based on
there's different types of emotion, though, man.
I'm not.
Like if you punch me and I kill you, I was emotional. That was emotional for me to come back and kill you. There's all types of emotion.
But that's my point. That's exactly my point. The emotion that I'm talking of is that young black boy that did not have a father raise him properly, so he does not know how to deal with his emotions. That's the emotional young black man that I'm talking about. I ain't talking about a black man like myself that can be on his phone and have passion in his words, or can be at a camp speaking and have passion in his words. Or like you said, get punched in the face, and now my emotion says, I'm going to punch you back. I'm talking about this specific type of emotion that these young black men as a whole do not have. They don't have no one to tell them, okay, don't channel this type of emotion, channel this type. Don't be this way, be this way.
What is the type though? Maybe that.
Yeah, I mean, but hold on,
the only thing I've heard you say was female emotion and male emotion. So maybe if you explain what emotion looks like, then
you ain't listening to me. You ain't listening to me. I just gave my emotion. I just used myself as an example.
Wait,
when I said I gave it.
Okay, but this. Hold on one second.
Trying to get clarification.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Queen.
Everybody
interject here for a second, and hold on one second, Captain Tazaryach. Because I don't want us to get we keep getting bogged down in the same quagmire. And I get what we're saying on both sides. And for some reason, I don't think I think there's a disconnect between everybody in that respect. Is that I think we can all agree that the healthiest thing for a child is to have a two-parent household that loves them and gives them a little some of their energy as they grow up, so that they can have a healthy balance. I think we can all agree on that one. The optimal way to raise a child.
Yeah, definitely.
And in doing so, you exhibit certain as a man, you exhibit certain ways to deal with things, and as a woman, you exhibit certain ways to deal with things. The problem lies when it's out of balance, and like he was saying earlier, it's not necessarily it's not that you can't have emotions. It's that when you should have 50% mom or 50% dad or 60% dad, 40% dad, you got 100% of one and 0 of the other. So at some point in life that may have an adverse effect on you.
Someone asks
it's not
clarification, like you yelled that no one's listening to you. You made a blanket statement and kept saying the particular emotion, but there you gave no particular about it. So excuse the hell out of me for asking a specific question. I just wanted to know what that emotion looks like, so I could understand what you were saying, so I can get on the same page. I'm not trying to debate you on this all day either. I just wanted to understand. You kept saying the emotion, the male emotion. What does that look like?
When I got a chance to speak, that sister that called in, I used her as a prime example. I said what she said was a prime example of what I was talking about. She said, as her raising the boys by herself, she would expect her oldest to do certain things, and he would follow after her, being emotional, taking stuff out on the kids when they didn't have nothing to do with it. Fixing up.
That doesn't mean okay. That's okay. Let's just move on.
You can have a sister if you want to hear yourself talk.
No.
Okay, all right. So move right along.
We're not gonna go here. We're gonna move on.
I have another question. Y'all mind if I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Go ahead.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right. The attention is thicker than German guard dogs. Golly.
You're a jerk, man.
Okay. All right. So, Capt Tazaryach, man, what is the biggest misconception that you get from being in the ISP UK? What's the biggest misconception? Because I hear a lot of them.
That we're usually that we hate women. We don't have jobs. We're ignorant. We cuss all day. We don't cuss at all, really. We just talk loud. I guess those would be like the biggest ones. You know, specifically the hating women thing, which sound real strange to me. We're ignorant, don't have jobs, we're not intelligent, stuff like that. Me personally, I've had the most heinous things said about me personally that just weren't true. So what we try to do, sometimes we don't care. Like for the most part, like with all of we get a lot of backlash from some of those things that we say. Sometimes we don't care. Sometimes I address them. Sometimes we just show. Like our fruits proven or whatever like that. But those are like some of the biggest things that, we hate women, we're ignorant, all we do is yell at people all day.
I'm glad that you cleared that up, because I'm kind of going to break into my second question, because I think what a lot of people don't know is that if you can break this down for me and everybody that's listening, it's kind of like different camps. Because somebody can see one camp that will fall under the Hebrew Israelites and sees them like acting like ass, and they would just group all of y'all in the same group of people. Like, could you like explain the ISP UK for the people?
Okay, well, ISUPK was established in 1969. Our original founder member, Abba Bivens, was killed by Muslims for teaching. After him, the 7 brothers the 3 brothers that he taught brought 4 other men. Those men named in no particular order were Jaquab, Ariyah, Shah, Kazak, Lahab, Yeshaya, and I'm missing one, but I hope they forgive me for missing the last one. and they founded the school. They would go out and teach on the streets. In about the 80s is when it started growing even further. Commander General Hanna came in. Other men came in after that. In the 90s, you had a split. There was an issue between the founders, so you had a split amongst the group. And that's where I guess you would say you have your first division, so to speak. And then, again, there was another split in 2000. Commander General Hanna stayed in the original school throughout it all. And so he became the leader of the ISUPK that you see today because of that. Now, since then, of course, brothers learn who they are, and they start their own Hebrew Israelite groups. Now, we can't control them. We can't control what they say because they're not in our organization. They're in their own organization. So it's like anything. The only thing that you can do as an organization, us as ISUPK, we can only teach the truth. If another organization comes about and does something crazy, one of the reasons why our videos have the disclaimer, what is it? If it's not, we are not affiliated with no other Israelite group. The reason why that's the most that we could do to disassociate ourselves with everybody else. So when you have a group that says it's okay to rape, we can say we're not that group. Look at our disclaimer. If you have a group that says that, we love white people, we can say that's not us. Look at our disclaimer. That's the only things that we can do and to continue to push our truth. That's all we can do. We can't control what somebody else does. What I would tell anybody, like I did for myself, is you should always do the proper research before you join any organization. Before you join any organization, you should always do the proper research before you join something. So you should investigate if this organization is saying you can rape. Is that something that you think is of the Most High? So I would just say do your due diligence.
I feel that. And geez, I had actually written something down too. And I saw where you said there's the barriers that, and I know this is kind of off topic. So matter of fact, I'm gonna dish that one.
No, you can ask whatever you want. No, you guys, if you want to ask it, you can ask it. There's no big deal to me.
Okay. And what I was gonna say was and I can't remember which video it was, but you said there were some barriers that we have to cross as far as spiritual guidance. What specifically did you mean, and at what point would we have to cross that barrier?
Barriers that we have to cross for spiritual guidance?
Uh-huh.
I don't even remember saying that. But as far as the spiritual barrier, now here's where I will give my doctrine. The spiritual barriers that I would always talk about is being an Israelite. For us, we're black people, like if you think about our plight in America, it's unexplainable from anybody. I don't care. Take religion out of the equation for a second. Our condition in America from our time here up until now is unexplainable. No nation has been through what we've been through to this extent. You could bring up nations that might have been enslaved, they might have been taken captive, and stuff like that. But nobody has been done in to the extent that we have been done in. And for now that's just the non-religious or non-spiritual aspect of it. Here's the spiritual side. From a spiritual perspective, you can find that answer in that book, whether it's the Tanakh or Torah, which is the original Hebrew language that it was written in. The Bible is just a translation of language, no different than if you got a Spanish book and translate it to English. That's all the Bible is. But if you read in the Hebrew, whether it's the Tanakh or Torah, you can find out why we got in this condition, why black men hate black men, why black men hate black women, why we hate each other, why we suffer, why we're under the foot of this oppressor in America, why we're in this condition is found in that book. And the reason why we're in that condition is because we broke the laws of God, period, point blank. So when I'm saying spiritual barriers, this warfare that we're in is all spiritual. The scriptures, Ephesians, the 6th chapter, 2 Corinthians, the 10th chapter says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but spiritual.
That's a whole different ballgame right there.
But meaning this.
But I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro.
Okay, I got you. But it's on this subject, meaning there's a spiritual depression that's on black people because we want to be everything except who we are. So when we dig in to who we are, we'll find out that there's only one people that we can be, and that's the Israelites, God's chosen people. And the reason why we suffer is because that God, that power told us if we broke his commandments, we would be put in this condition. So now, if we want to make him a liar, we want to make the Bible a liar, let's not break the commandments and then see if it changes, because we keep breaking them. So the spiritual barriers that I'm talking about, remember in the beginning you said one of the things that I can do, talking about me, is that I can deal with anybody no matter what walk of life that they're in. And that's true. I'll always be able to deal with black people no matter what walk of life that they come from. But my end game, like I said at the end, I'm always sneak in, being an Israelite, next thing you know, you'll be in all black, etc., like that, because my end game is to get you where the Lord wants you to be. This ain't for my gain. I don't gain nothing by this. I'm a nobody. I'm nothing. Like the scriptures say, all our righteousness is as a filthy rag. So to the Lord, I'm a filthy rag. All I can do is open your eyes up to this truth, open your eyes up to who you are. That's the spiritual barriers that I'm talking about, because most of the time when I come to people and bring up the Israelite doctrine, they'll tell me all the time how they don't want to rock with it. But if I ask them and I say, okay, if we're not this, then show me who we are, I don't get the answer as to who we are, or it's cloudy, or it's vague, or you got to find your own path or something like that. So that's the spiritual barriers that I'm talking about in that regard.
Okay. All right. I mean, and I feel that, and actually, I got one more question, and before I even do that, man, I totally forgot my shameless plug. Don't forget, we got the Conscious Olympics dropping July 30th at 4 p.m. at the Elevator Building in Detroit, Michigan. And if you are unfamiliar with what that is, it is basically a game show for us and about us. We just literally ask questions about our history, our participants, Q Butter, Minister Inky, Asanori Bay, and KT the Arts Degree are competing for $500. Whoever answers the most history questions, we got several different categories. They win the prize. You can check that out. Tickets or the live stream at www.consciousolympics.yapcity.com. And my next question would be, before you got involved with the Israelites, what was your life like?
Man, I was a Christian, a part-time Christian at that. I was a Christian like everybody else. Worked a regular 9 to 5. My background came from the hustling world and stuff like that. And that was it. I didn't do anything. I didn't know nothing about it. I found out being an Israelite by mistake. Not by mistake, but by accident. But I was, halfway going to church, in and out. The only thing that I always was I was always pro-black. I always loved black people and I always hated white people. My daddy taught me how to hate white people. So I always had that instilled in me. And then I stumbled upon a video that said black people were Israelites. And I used to hear that back in the day. Like, I remember when Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown said they was Israelites and stuff like that. So I used to hear that stuff, but I never really did the research on it. And when I saw this YouTube video saying that we were the Israelites, I started watching the video, and then I started digging in more information on it. And I met this brother. Long story short, I ended up communicating with this brother from Louisiana, and I still didn't know much. All I thought at the time was, okay, I'm a Christian. They say I'm an Israelite. So all the stuff about Christianity is true. I just know I'm an Israelite. So I just, I was still like a Christian Israelite, so to speak. I didn't know nothing. And so I ended up asking a brother from Louisiana. I asked him where was this shit at? Like, where was the truth at? And I love the brother enough to wherever he would have told me to go, that's where I would have went. And he told me about ISUPK. I didn't know no ISUPK. And he told me about ISUPK, sent me their website information, contacted ISUPK. They told me they were speaking at 12th and Market in front of, I forget what that is, in front of 12th and Market. But it's like, I thought, like I was so naive, I didn't know they taught on the street or anything like that. I thought they was teaching in an office. And the first speaking I ever saw was a white man kissing their feet. That's all I needed. Once I saw that shit there, Listen,
sign me. This the place.
Yeah, so that was the Lord showing me, this is where you're supposed to be. And I used to drive down to Philly 5 days a week. I was driving down to Philly. I would go to work. I was still working my 8 to 5, and I would drive down to Philly 5 days a week. So it was a 2-hour drive because of traffic. 2-hour drive, 2-hour class, hour and a half back. I was doing that 5 days a week. And then the school made me reduce my time because I was going. I was locked in. Because, to me, when I saw that and I saw the truth about the Bible and this was a tool that we could use to fix black people, I was just all in. Prior to that, I was like a halfway type of nigga. I would talk that shit. I would go smoke an L or something like that, like everybody else, being a drug addict or something like that, and talk about black people getting right at the barbershop. That was my spot. I'd be at the barbershop with the brother. We got to do this, or whatever. And then they would treat me like, the best way would be, what's that cat, Sharif from Minister Society? That would be me. Yo,
yeah, I got called that a few times.
Yeah, when I was coming up as a teenager, hustling and stuff on the corner, I would be talking. Them niggas used to call me Malcolm and shit like that because in the middle of hustling, I would say, man, y'all know we can't be, I was always one of them cats, straddling the fence of being a wicked-ass nigga trying to be righteous. That was me my whole life up until I came into the truth. Up until I came into UPK, that was me my whole life. A wicked-ass nigga trying to be righteous, and then I found out how to be righteous and still be a man because what would turn me off with the Christian church would have you being soft, in my opinion. Like I said, 98% of the churches, I ain't talking about everyone, there's 98% of them, would have you being soft and not allowing a strong black man seems to be a threat to everybody. And so even the Christian church didn't allow a man to be a man like a man needed to be. A man needs to be a lion in his house, not a lion that he's barking all day, but being able to rule his house. You be able to rule your house, you can rule a community. And being an Israelite allows black men to do that. I applaud. That sister they called earlier is a prime example of what I'm talking about. She allowed that brother to come into her life and take that household and shape it the way it needs to be. And now they're the perfect counterpart to each other. She balances him out, he balances her out. They take care of that family. That's Israelite. So, and I don't want to make it sound because I don't want nobody to call in and say they do that with their household. I'm not saying that don't nobody do that with their household. But for me, Hebrew Israelites saved my life. I would have died. Yeah, it'll work for everybody.
Definitely.
Yeah, it'll work for everybody. I would have, without being an Israelite, I'd be dead now.
And that kind of leads me into something I wanted to ask you for real because it's a big misunderstanding that the Hebrew Israelites are only out for each other. You feel me? But right. I seen on a video that you dropped recently saying that you're willing to work anybody that's willing to help black people, pretty much, as far as the other black people. You feel what I'm saying? Black people willing to help black people, you're with it. So that leads me to this question. I got to talk about it. The video that went viral, man. That's it. The one you were talking to the little African boy.
Oh, okay. No
I had to ask, man. I had to ask.
No sweat. Come on with it. Listen, I like answering this question. I like answering this question.
Yeah. I mean, the feedback you was getting was kind of, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, that's messed up. How can you do that? That's a baby and all that. So explain, could you tell the people why the Hebrew Israelites kind of distance themselves from Africans?
Okay, no sweat. From a biblical perspective, short and to the point, Africans are from a different nation than we are. And so we don't consider ourselves Africans. Africans are Hamitic people. We come from Shem. That's like a short and skinny answer. With the African boy specifically, and why people, that selfishness I was talking about earlier as a race, this is the perfect time that should apply. Because Africans don't come over here and have this great love affair with black people, to where when they come over here with their wealth and their growth and their economic power that they may have, they then translate that to the black ghettos of America, to where they're standing marching with us when we're dying, to where on the front lines with us if we're going before the court system looking for justice and stuff like that. As a nation, I'm not talking about nobody giving me one or two. I'm talking about as a nation. They don't do that. If anything, Africans separate themselves from being black so that they can fit in with the so-called white man. That's one perspective. The other perspective, I mentioned this, I did this interview, Sonetta asked me the same question. This was last week. And I'll say the same thing on this show. When black people was coming over here in slave ships, nobody cared about our children, our women, or our men. We died to the tune of 99 million black people. We were shipped over in slavery in spoon-like fashion. That trek that took a year or so to get over here, they ain't worried about our food. They ain't worried about our shelter. They ain't worried about our sanitary. They ain't worried about nothing. And as all of that is transpiring, the same Africans that we love are the ones rounding us up to sell us over to the white man. So who's going to honor that ancestor? Who's going to give the honor to that old black? There's a good book every black people that can hear my voice should read. It's called Tell the Children Our Story, or When I Was a Slave. And these are slave memoirs from slaves and what they had to go through when they was going through slavery. You'll see one story where this old lady, 91 years old, can remember how her 3-year-old sister got killed just because she cried like all babies do. So now, when you look at what's happened to black people over here, and you look at the enemies that have done this, I ain't seen white people, Africans, Arabs, they'll never be able to eat off my plate until all my people are fed first. Now, when my people are fed first, then send me the little African boy that wants to get fed, or send the little white boy that wants to get fed. And then maybe I can give them a crumb of the scraps that is left off of my table, because my children, my brothers, my sisters, my aunties, my grandmothers, they have never been prioritized on the face of the planet. So if I got to take backlash because this little 14-year-old boy who I acknowledge was an intelligent brother, I got a picture. Listen, I took a picture. I saw that little Hamite boy or African boy. I saw him 2 weeks later. I saw him in front of the can. I'll send you the picture, AJ. I'm going to put it in the box. I saw him in front of the can. I said to him, I was talking to him, I said, they put that interview on YouTube. The first thing out of his mouth was, did they make money off of it? Because I want my cut. That's the first thing that came out of his mouth. And then I asked him, I said, did you have a problem with what I said? I asked him, I said, did you have a problem with what I said? He said, no. Now, here's what a lot of people don't know also. I never put up his edited version. Maybe I'll give you my version so you can see what the African boy said. What that young African boy said to me in that same interview, which is on my YouTube channel, which we put up, he said, I'm not going to lie. If your people destroyed my people, I would absolutely hate you and your people forever. That's what he said. Because he understands honoring his ancestors. I have to. If the Jewish man,
and see, my thing with that, bro.
To think that Africans destroy that, y'all. That's just ridiculous. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've heard lately. The Africans are not the reason why black people in this country are in the position that we are in. And what it is doing, it is going after the weaker, the lesser of the two evils, instead of going after the source of the turmoil that we're going through, which is the white man.
And I don't disagree with you. So let me say this when I make this statement too. If you ever look at us, we don't spend a whole lot of time talking about Africans. I don't. I ain't never. Let me make my point. I've never spent as much time, only until I met these cats that want to disrespect the Bible, these cats that want to follow Kemetic culture, and the only way they can follow Kemetic culture is if they bash the Bible. Until that point, we ain't never talked about Africans that much. What you just said was right. Our number one priority should be with the number one enemy, and that's the so-called white man. You know when I got to deal with African mumbo-jumbo? When these nut-ass niggas in the conscious community want to come at me with this African crap and want to disrespect what I follow. So don't disrespect what I follow and then get emotional when I cut that up. I'm not talking about you. I'm just telling you why. I'm just telling you when it comes up. It only comes up then. If you look at what I talk about, I don't talk about nothing that's quote-unquote anti-African. Only time you hear me speak about Africans is when someone asks me about it. And I'm going to stand on that because we're not Africans. But when you say the minority, they are the minority. But they are part of the reason why we got over here because they had a hand in the transatlantic slave trade. Everybody that had a hand in it.
But see, that's the problem.
Everybody that had a hand in it, I hate. And I'm always going to hate.
Okay, so this is my question. And this is a serious question because I'm non-religious. I don't follow Comedicism, Hebrew Israelite. I don't follow any kind of doctrine. So you know what the phrase "get down or lay down" means?
Yeah.
Do you think that Africans will now? And I don't mean prisoners of war because we had tribal wars. We had tribes that warred with other tribes and took prisoners of war and sold them off as slaves. But do you think that the Africans, and I hate using that term as a whole, that these various areas, locations, regions that white people went into, do you really think that these people willingly gave up their countrymen, their tribesmen, their family? You willingly think that we did that with spears and the less modern weaponry that we were up against? I mean, are y'all really that naive to think that and we don't have the same level of evilness and that white people have in them? Black people all over the globe are more loving people, and that's why we cannot perpetrate the same levels of evilness against other people that have been perpetrated against us because we're more in tune with nature. You really think that these people gave away their people willingly to white people?
I don't think they gave away their...
There are some that probably did it in exchange for weapons. There are some that probably did it in exchange for these goods or whatever. But for the amount of people that went into slavery, you think that happened willingly? I think it's naive for you to think that.
Well,
you got to know that
naive.
Most of that was done by force.
It was done by force, and I'm not of the notion that Africans sold Africans.
But you just said that anyone that betrayed your people like that is your enemy. That doesn't make sense for you to want to make Africans your enemy because some things that they were forced to do in the transatlantic slave trade, which the transatlantic slave trade itself is a... You gotta let me
finish. When I say I don't believe Africans sold Africans, the reason why I say that is because Africans sold Israelites. When you get them slave maps, them slave coats was called the coats of Judah. They knew exactly who they were selling, and there's no way nobody's gonna tell me that the white man just came and sold all of these amount of people without African assistance. I believe there's at least one country in Africa that's apologized for their role in slavery. Not a man, not an individual. The country apologized for their role enslaving us. Now, take the religious aspect off of it. How could I love any people that sold and destroyed? Just think about what's happened to us. The reason why if you ask 10 people who they are, you get 10 different answers. That's because of the transatlantic slave trade. So anybody, the Arabs, the white man, the Africans, anybody that has a hand in that is my absolute enemy. Their children are my enemy. Everybody is my enemy because nobody cared about my ancestors, period. There's an honor. They have a Memorial Day every year for World War II, World War III, for those little funky-ass fallen soldiers that died, them white people that died. And they're the ones that started the war. The Jewish man honors them 2 million, 6 million white people that wanted to be black, so Hitler put them in the oven to be black because they wanted to be Jews. They honor that Holocaust to the tilt. There's no amount of people that have died at the hands of one race due to other races helping them than black people, and we give them no honor. Our ancestors that's rolling over in the grave will be disgusted at black people to have a love for the people that sold them, be it white, African, or Arab.
I guess my only contention with that one, and hold on one second, my only contention with that one will be is that it would be one thing, I guess, and I see it from your point of view, and I try to look at things from all point of view. It would be one thing if you said this specific country did this, but to extrapolate that to like the whole continent, it just seems just kind of disingenuous
well,
to me because there has to be like some countries that had nothing to do with that.
Give me the okay, no sweat. Give me the African country that made a march or created a military or some type of fight or did anything to free us from this oppression. Give me the country that did that. Give me the people that say we had enough of that. If you're saying that we didn't do it, if you're saying that we did,
that's not fair.
What is that? You said they didn't do it willingly. You said they was forced by the white man to do it. So give me the battle that took place that stopped them from doing it. Give me them on the ship. Give me the war of 19 whatever or 14 whatever when they're on the ships. Man.
If you think that one of these countries, if you think that one of these countries had the manpower, had the weaponry,
they had the manpower to sell us.
Back.
Wait, had the manpower.
Wait. Let me get my statement out. Hear me for a change. If you think that any one of these countries or tribes had the weaponry to come back and get any of us, they wouldn't have let us go in the first place. So that doesn't even make sense to say. And like I said,
and then Africans are more barbaric, or just as barbaric as white people, just not on that grand scale. Look at what they do to their daughters.
That's not true.
Yeah, that's a lie. They eat each other.
Prime example of that is chattel slavery. Prime example of that is chattel slavery. Because there's a huge difference between.
Okay, I can't hear both of y'all at the same time, and I do. We still got a couple of callers.
When there's an honor, I got you.
But one thing before you say, hold on one second, Captain Tazaryach. Before you finish, I guess to kind of like bridge that, because I get the anger if it was focused.
It's just
and I get what you get, but there's a crucial element that you're missing though, in my humble opinion, is that not only I think we all agree that we were stolen. Okay.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
No.
He said
listen, insurance companies were started with slavery. They ain't stolen. We was insurance. We was property. We was property.
But you can be both actually. The insurance companies, they would have started from slavery, but that does not necessarily mean that we got there, like somebody just gave us to them without a fight. But I guess my point would be is that the reason that they did not come, at least from my thinking, is it didn't just stop with the slavery. They were being bombarded for their land at the same time. And thereafter, it would have been hard to wage a war on the because you got to. And I don't care what country you are, you're gonna protect your home front first. And if Europe is trying to colonize your particular country, the first thing, and they didn't already proven that they're gonna steal people. They didn't came in and did that, and the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna fight on the home front. So I don't know if, practically speaking, they would have been able to send a whole army over. Right. For a year away from home while they're getting their ass handed to them at home and trying to make sure they don't get ran over. But that's just my
I just say this. I just want to put my one theory out there because I know everybody, got their own theory. I just want to say my theory is, this is my opinion. We can agree to disagree. I just think that we was here. I just think there's some things about the Atlantic slave trade that is just hard for me to believe. You feel me? For us to be in a boat for over, just some things I don't believe. And then black people do not look like American black people do not look like African people. Black people are all over the world.
That's why I said we not Africans. We are Israelites. Period.
I mean, but you discounting the millions of races.
Skin color
like we're not going to look like them because we have been raped. We've been
geographical locations. Nutrition comes into play.
Hold on, one family. I got to get this one because the show is about to end in a minute technically. So I want to make sure that I get this one phone call in before it does that. So they can actually get on the line. So hold on one second, fam. Definitely a dope bill though. So hold on one second. Let me get to 7823 real quick. And I do apologize to the other people holding. I'm doing the best I can if y'all can't tell. I feel like I've been working out. Damn.
He on the turntables over there. He on the turntables looking like Omar Epps and Juice.
What's good, fam?
Hey, Peace, Charles. What's going on with you?
What's going on, Knowledge?
Peace. Hey, I got my brother, man, Captain Cesario. What's going on, Shalom?
Hey, what's going on? Shalom, what's happening?
Hey, I just wanted the family to hear what's going on.
I can't hear what he's saying.
My brother, Captain Cesario.
You're kind of breaking up a little bit, Knowledge.
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Yeah, you good now. I said my brother is presenting something that we haven't seen in America in a long time, and particularly within the confines of the conscious community. It's called no concessions. No concessions. You see what I'm saying? We want warriors that will stand for our people uncompromisingly. They're building warriors in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge that are standing for our people, that are standing against the assault, the molestation, the rape, the pedophilia, the homosexuality, all of the things that are plaguing our people. They're working with the forgotten among our people. They're working with gangs, people in the prison system, all of the people that we run from. They're running to. They're facts. In that,
yeah, but that's not exclusive to the Hebrew Israelite community. No. I'm saying for this brother. No, you're giggling, but that's what he started out saying. They're doing something in the Hebrew Israelite community that you don't see in the conscious community.
No, I'm not saying that.
You don't.
I'm not saying that, Queen Afi.
I wasn't.
Queen Afi, what I was saying, Queen Afi, I was saying as brothers and sisters in the community, there are people that purport to stand for us that are making concessions. There are Black Power organizations that are accepting homosexuality. There are groups of people that are saying that God loves the sinner, hates the sinner type of mentality. This is what they're doing. This is not what is found over here. We may have some ideological differences. This is my brother. He know I'm an African 100%. You see what I'm saying? And we don't disagree. So he has his stance where he stands, and we work together, for the last 2 years. So I'm saying what's going on as far as their organization is concerned is noteworthy, and it's not happening a lot, and it's something that could be modeled in these other organizations. They're taking white people. These other people are taking white people in their organizations and homos and all kinds of stuff, and they're making what we hold dear and sacred desecrated. You see what I'm saying? We're allowing organizations to dishonor our ancestors. The same fight that we having right now on this phone call is the same fight that are going into organizations of people that purport to represent us, and they're misrepresenting us, and they're doing our ancestors a dishonor. The same people that's responsible for our destruction, we're allowing into our organization. The same people who are participating in activities that are detrimental to our people, they're allowing in the organization. So we need to look at these tenets that are happening, this example that's being laid out before us, and say, what can we learn from this? You see what I'm saying? What can we learn from this? You know, what's really being communicated here? That brother loves black people. I know that without a doubt. You see what I'm saying? I know that without a doubt. And everybody who comes from that particular organization stands firm for black people. You see what I'm saying? So that's why we're having the conversation.
You can't love the branches and hate the roots. So all of that, and
that ain't our root, though.
There are a lot of
when you say that, you got to be careful when you say that, because then that's a disrespect to our ideology. Once again, I don't speak about Africans like that on a common thing, only when I'm asked. So it's a root for you, but that's not. That's
not a disrespect to the ideology, in my opinion. That is having a different ideology.
What I'm saying is that
that's got to be okay, right?
Africans, the people, are not our root, so we're not being disrespectful to anyone. What we're saying is that
is your belief.
That's proven.
That is your belief,
we're not African people. Okay, no sweat. So we're not African people. No sweat. You can disagree with me. That's fine. But we're not disrespecting any root. The only root that gets disrespected is the Most High. He gets disrespected every time we take on.
I said you cannot love the branch and hate the root, and you yourself iterated a couple of times about someone being your enemy that sold out your people. If that is not hate, I don't know what is.
From their
standpoint,
they are not African, so they will never agree to the fact that is the root. From your standpoint, Afi, and I agree with you, Afi, that would be our root. However, I also want to kind of highlight what Knowledge said. And that's why I kind of didn't want to go off into this particular part of the conversation, and I can't, AJ. No, I can't, bruh. The show is technically over. I can't let any other calls in. That's why I let Knowledge in right before, just to make sure that he would be able to get on and speak his piece.
And I actually got to run as well, because I got to get ready for stuff that I have to do.
I feel you, man.
If the show is over, I got to run as well.
And on that note, man, we definitely appreciate your time and your wisdom, bro.
Yeah, listen, man. If y'all gonna be, because I know y'all in B-more, I'm gonna be at the spot, Century to Fly. I'm gonna be there Sunday, so we could chop it up more, face to face if you want to.
Oh well, I'm in Cleveland myself. AJ and Rome are in B-more, so hopefully they can fall through. That would be dope.
I talk to AJ. Yeah, I talk to AJ all the time. So yeah, AJ, if you're in Baltimore, man, I'm gonna be there Sunday. So
yeah, we definitely fly through. We definitely there.
Yeah, and if y'all ever want me back, so I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, go ahead, bro.
I was saying, if you ever want to, do another show or come back on, I'm fine with that. Also, any topic, you guys ever want to discuss, I'm fine with it. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure to be on your show.
It was our pleasure, bro.
Oh, man.
And I do want to say for our listeners that can still hear us, I don't have to agree with everybody with everything a person believes, says, or does. To then, but I am able to still agree with them on some other things. It doesn't have to be all inclusive for me personally. I personally, I think we came from Africa. That's just me. You don't have to agree for me to agree with you that these crackers here is killing us.
Right.
We gonna definitely always disagree on certain shit, and that's cool. But we got a bigger enemy in front of us. After we tackle that shit, then we can go back, at least, and this is just my personal opinion. It don't represent my skin is my sin, or Afi, or AJ, or Rome. It's just jobs talking. But, we need to tackle the Hulk, and then we can start talking about the ants that we've been complaining about amongst each other for so long.
Absolutely. And that's what we do. We try to deal with the Hulk. People like to deal with African perspective. Listen, if you pay attention, I never bring up Africa until someone else brings up Africa to me.
You haven't brought up the white man, but you haven't brought up the white man in this whole conversation, though, at all.
I did bring up the white man when I talked about the drugs, the CIA. I did bring up the white man. That's not true. Let's be fair.
No. That's
You're
not
just
the same
more
thing.
passionate. You're
That's
just more passionate. You're just more passionate because I mentioned the Africans. If you just do a history of my taste, and this will be the last thing I say, if you do the history of my interaction, it's them black Negroes that all they want to talk to me about is either destroying what I believe in, making fun of what I believe in. So what will I? Yeah, the black cats. That's their fault that I talk about Africa so much. Tell them to not bother me, and I won't bother them about it. But that's their fault. That ain't my fault. Talk to them. Talk to Polite and all of them. He too busy with trannies and shit. So talk to them about that. You know what I mean?
I got a question for everybody. So don't get off this. Don't leave this conversation thinking it's particularly you. I'm here to do a job, and I got a question for everybody.
No, sis, I don't. If you know if you don't know about me, I'll tell you. I don't get offended by any type of conversation that we have. You are my sister. I got nothing but love for you just because we disagree.
I'm an African. I'm your enemy.
But see, okay, now I'm gonna tell you, right? I get a lot of black people that tell me that they African. I'll never, just like I get a lot of black people that tell me they Muslim, Christian, whatever it is, whatever they want to be. You're always gonna be a black woman to me, a sister to me. I don't care what you call yourself. So us having a disagreement is not going to make me have some type of disdain or something like. I don't do that. I don't have that emotional trait to where now I'm going to dislike you or something like that. I'm going to have the same respect for you that I had before we did the show. That's
cool.
me.
I was just going by what you said about Africans being your enemy, and considering I'm an African.
Yeah, but you're not African to me.
Considering I'm 24%
on that note,
King
and Queen.
And Togan, yes, I am an African.
That DNA.
We gonna shut it down on that note, Kings and Queens. I do appreciate everybody's input. I hate to cut you off, Captain Cesario.
No sweat. I got to roll anyway, man. Y'all take it easy.
Like we could talk about this particular. We'll be going back and forth until like we are all dust on this one. You know, this is just one of those where nobody is going to move an inch on this one, and I'm cool with that. That's just that's just me personally.
Very interesting.
Did you say what, Queen?
I said I do appreciate him coming on and you know, bringing a really good, interesting topic and conversation. That's definitely.
It was dope. Very dope. You know, I like to have a nice dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely. If you want to hear my response, tune in next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. You feel what I'm saying? And you feel me? You probably hear how I feel. I'm joking. But I do want to say this, man. I appreciate everybody that came out and listened. This was definitely a great bill. I was a fan myself, being a spectator listening. Learned a lot. You know, we got a lot of things off our chest, and I enjoyed myself. And that's it. I'm out. Be one black to the future. I'm done.
Oh, and Captain Tazaryach, if you're still there, bro, if people want to get in contact with you, how do they do that? Oh, I guess hung up.
We had to get in contact with him so people can get in contact with him now because he's gone.
Exactly, yeah. And I had switched away from the switchboard, so I didn't know that he hung up. But definitely salute to him for tuning in, man. And definitely an interesting conversation to say the least. I feel you're so petty.
No, I'm not. What? That's not fair. Y'all doing it so wrong.
Oh my goodness, we love you, Alfie, like so much. Like man, like you are so golden.
Emotional. He just got finished saying that he's never gonna. Man, look, I'm just here to ask questions.
And I'm trying to. Did y'all have any last words before I jump into this commercial?
Yeah, just the site, how any of the shows go every week. I am always appreciative of that come on. They offer a different perspective. I know that the way I view and believe things to be is not the way that someone else does. You know what I'm saying? And I might get a little petty, and I might pick apart a phrase that something that someone says. It could be a little difficult. I'm aware. You know what I'm saying? But it really is just for the dialogue. We need to have these conversations because the yes men, and just going with what somebody says just because, like, the time for that is over. And if we're going to be intellectual people that are going to advance and get ahead, we're going to have to start questioning some of the stuff that these people are saying and not just going along just because there's somebody in this particular sect of the community. And that's all I got to say.
Wow. Brother Greg?
No. Yeah, it was, yeah, I'm right here. Yeah, I'm just chilling, man. I enjoyed it.
Spit it out.
Yeah, you can't hear them? You can hear me?
Oh, you stumbling.
Can you hear me?
Together. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, no, I'm good. Yes. Great show. That's it. I'm done. Peace.
Salute to everybody for tuning in, man. Definitely appreciate the love and the support. Again, don't forget to check out the Conscious Olympics. Go to www.consciousolympics.yapsity.com. Oh, and I also failed to mention that Alfie is giving away a print of one of her phenomenal paintings. And go to kmlportraits.com. I think I got that right. If you want to check out her work. Definitely phenomenal. Next week we'll be talking about depression with Pam Ward, and we got a brother on the show, and I do apologize, I forgot his name. After that, hopefully, we're trying to get the RMC show. If y'all listening, get it together.
Yeah.
Definitely